But you have to understand that starting a big fight with him in the middle of his hall, surrounded by his guards and a lot of innocent bystanders, is what I was trying to avoid.
Where are you
So
having
you're
this
you're
conversation?
explaining this to Edmont and Victor, yes? Because you're up at the beer house.
Yeah, I assume this is going to be in our private room after, when we're retiring.
Yeah, that's fine.
Person's in the corner eating a donut.
How do you respond when you walk in and see Victor sitting at a table of treasure?
What is he doing with it?
He's just staring at it.
Okay.
He's literally in a dark corner just staring at the table with all the treasure.
I think that the proper thing to do to make things right with Drala is to give that treasure back to him, not destroy it because you feel like you owe you owe somebody some kind of, blood libel.
They're all dead.
It's not our treasure to burn.
It's not their treasure either. They're dead. He killed all of them, Evie. Every single one.
I know. How did that happen, Victor?
Do I look like a mage to you? Orson chimes up in the middle of the conversation. It's like, well, hold on. I don't think you can blame Victor for this.
Victor started a fight in the hall in front of 100 people who all got caught in the crossfire.
We were planning to kill this man.
Not in the middle, not with 100 witnesses watching.
He tried to cut off Edmund's finger.
After you provoked him. You also defied my orders when I tried to bring you back in line.
Even
Evie.
so, you can't put those people on Victor's... Edmund, you agree, don't you?
I agree. I agree, cousin. And furthermore, I had words and then I just lost them.
That's appropriate.
This isn't how I wanted things to go.
What did you imagine would happen? You'd make some deal with that man? You'd walk away happy we'd get our water?
So, my plan was, I wasn't at the session, so I couldn't do it, but, build a coalition of the people who obviously had distaste for Randus and then oust him.
That was my suggestion. I suggested we either kill him in his sleep, or we bribe his guards, or offend him in some way and have him attack and then bribe his guards when they get there. But no, what happened? They kidnapped the fucking groom.
Victor, you did threaten some of their servants. You threatened to cut a man's head off.
That wasn't a real threat. He kept pestering us every 5 minutes, as if we could get a bride gift together we didn't know about an hour.
Okay, the appropriate response to being annoyed is not to threaten murder.
I didn't threaten murder.
You threatened to cut his head off.
No, I said if he didn't leave us alone and give us time to put our gift together, I would use his head as a gift.
That is not how House Veritas talks to the small folk.
Edmont.
The fact of the matter is the Squelcher Lord would have taken the bride to his bed, despite the fact that he is a very reprehensible person. None of us, that's not a tradition that any of us have seen. And I think both of you would agree is extremely horrible and reprehensible. Yes?
Did you guys tell Victor about that last time?
Yeah.
Or is this the first time he's finding out? Okay.
No.
You offered to break out and steal the bride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if you told me the fat guy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely that Edmont would have told you that.
Yeah, so hearing that, Nicole is being forced against her will to marry someone is obviously a subject that Evie's going to find a lot of sympathy for. So, I'm glad that we helped her, but a lot of people got caught in the crossfire because you started a fight in the Great Hall in front of 50 people.
What is this we started you were there. Did we throw the first punch? Did we start the fight? We did what was asked. We went to the table.
You made jackasses of yourself and got the guards involved. Then you refused to listen to the guards. What did you think was going to happen?
We listened to the guards. We walked up front and stood next to him. We were providing a distraction while they tried to get out the bride because they had to kidnap the groom. This whole thing is a giant clusterfuck.
Orson confides that even as he was watching, it's like if one of those men had taken a knife to Edmont's or Edmont's or Victor's hand, I would have been on my feet with my spear. It could have been me that throwed the first attack. I wasn't going to stand by and allow that to happen. Were you?
None of it was supposed to go like this.
Story of our life. What happened to moving to the city and living a nice, comfortable life? What happened to the promises of riches and treasures and explorations? Ever since we've gotten here, we've been chased, attacked. They ate Denny, for God's sake. What did you think was going to happen, Evie? And Victor will start crying.
It's in the middle of the beer hall.
Yes.
Well,
No,
they're
we're
up
in
in
our
their
room.
room at that point.
Oh, in our room, yeah.
No, I want this to be in the middle of the beer hall.
Well, we're
Okay.
not gonna. Evie's not gonna yell at you in the middle of the beer hall.
Oh, okay.
No, this is
Fine,
taking
your
place
room,
up in your room.
Lux will affectionately nuzzle his beak against your ear when you
Yeah.
start crying.
I think we just need to have like a group hug at this point.
We need a vacation.
You
need
could,
a
but
beach
Jeannie's
episode.
camping, and Ekon is sleeping up in the
In the
death
murder house.
Yeah.
We need a beach episode.
Victor just starts sobbing into his hands, moaning about how they're all dead.
The night's
It's a funny
uneventful. You can all take the benefits of a long rest. Victor, do you go up to the house the next morning as instructed by Ekon?
Yeah. He's feeling a little better in the morning.
So that's a lesser restoration off the list. So yeah, after I finish my morning prayers, I will cast my daily lesser restoration. And then I will immediately cast a sending to, what's his name?
Roberto? No, not Roberto. Where the hell did I get Roberto?
Arian.
Darian. Yep. I will cast a sending to Darian. I will say, wedding ended. Squelcher Lord murdered all the guests. Only your father survived. You can return to the village, or you can continue back to your own land, or potentially to ours. Please respond.
You may respond to this message.
His response is that he has borrowed a horse and is riding hard for home.
Okay.
I have an important question. Probably the most important question of the session. Where are the three guys that came with us?
They
I
had,
think we forgot about them.
they had spent
They're
the
at the beer
time
hall.
camping outside of the village. Because remember, these are men that,
They're outlaws.
yeah, kind of. As the village starts to come to life the next day, word gets out about what's happened. People are very fuzzy on the details. All they know for certain is that the Squelcher Lord's son Drala and the men and women of House Veritas who were guests amongst the court are the only survivors of what transpired. And you hear a lot of versions of the story, none of which are completely accurate, some more embellished than others. What are your guys' plans for the next day?
I've got some things I want to do at the beginning of the day. First thing I want to talk to. Okay, the two kids have really similar names. Which one's the Squelcher Lord's son?
Rala.
Drala.
Drala. Let me actually write that down. First of all, I want to make sure that I want to set up a time that he can have an audience with my cousin to go over what should happen between our two provinces after this.
Okay, you mean with
Maybe
Evie?
sometime this afternoon.
Yeah, I head over there basically first thing in the morning.
Okay.
He doesn't have to meet me right then, but I'm gonna be there at the hall.
And then
Okay.
I also want to know How many of these nobles or bodies are going to be sent back? That will which ones will take the longest to head back to be sent back to their homes to be buried? Basically, how many gentle reposes do I actually need to cast?
Okay. Bear with me one moment.
Yep,
Can you just cast it on all of them? Isn't it a cantrip?
it's not a ritual. I don't think. Let me look. Maybe it's a ritual.
What was Evie doing first thing this morning?
Well, she's going to the hall to make herself available to meet with Drala so that they can discuss the.
It is a ritual.
Oh, it is a ritual, yeah.
Presumably, the relationship between our two houses going forward, but also probably offer to help kind of sort things out to establish him as the rightful ruler of this realm.
Okay. Does anybody else want to be present for this meeting in the morning between Evie and Drala?
Back on well.
Ekon will?
Victor probably should not. So Victor is going to go find Genie and then go find the 3 guys.
Evie is going to ask for those treasures from Victor.
Does Victor
Victor.
relinquish his treasures?
Victor will politely decline and once again say, I'm going to burn them.
Is
It would
Genie
be
going
east.
to go with Victor to find the 3 men who you conspired to destroy the dam with?
Is Genie going with him? I mean,
Victor just said he was going to look for Genie and then go try to find these 3 guys.
Genie's gonna sit in the woods until somebody comes and collects her. Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
She'll go with him.
Yeah, the main reason Victor's going to go find Genie is to show her the lightning in the bottle.
And what is Edmont doing this morning?
Edmont is going out to the Oliver's family farm, and he is going to start taking sketches.
Of just like the plots on the farm?
Just making art, just trying to distract himself from what happened yesterday.
Okay. Ekon, I need you to make me an insight check, please.
Actually, I think can I change what I want to do?
Yeah.
Real quick. So, Victor is going to as soon as Victor finds Genie and tells him what, Evie, I am going to go to be in the room with Evie and Ekon.
So you're going to go to the meeting.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the meeting.
Victor,
Are
are you
you
going
gonna-
to look for the 3 guys by yourself?
I guess so. Genie, are you going to take the lightning in a bottle with you?
Yes.
So Victor basically says, Genie, we found this in the pile. Given your response at Aslan's place, you may find it interesting, but when you're done looking at it, I want it back so it can be destroyed.
Why are you
Yeah.
destroying other people's property?
The blood price. They're all dead.
Blood price? What? That makes no sense.
We have to atone, Genie.
It's not. You're going to atone by burning somebody else's property?
They're dead. It belongs with them.
So, Genie, are you still going to the meeting?
Yeah, I'm going to point at Victor and say, Victor,
What?
develop alcoholism like a normal coping mechanism and don't destroy things.
Wow.
And then she's going to leave.
Ekon, how'd you do that
Damn.
insight check?
An 8.
An 8? Okay.
Am
you're
I
going-
at
takes you-
the meeting?
Not yet. It takes you about 10 minutes to do gentle repose as a ritual. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Saying prayers and...
Yes.
So those lords and ladies that had servants in town that were wealthy enough to come with servants that were staying in town, they're binding up the bodies. And I mean, they're respectfully letting you do what you need to do with your prayers. And yeah, they're binding them up and taking them away. Other members of the court didn't have serving men and women in town. They're going to be either probably just interred in the village cemetery. And then word will just be sent back to their holdfasts. And then there are people like guardsmen and commoners and things who won't even be afforded that. They don't have a plot in the cemetery. They're eventually just going to be burned.
Okay. See, Ekon's morning will probably be taken up with gentle repose.
So you're not going to go in and be at this meeting then?
No, I'll take a break for the meeting.
Okay. Ekon, Evie, and Genie.
Mm-hmm.
Drala sits down in his father's solar with the 3 of you. He's exhausted. He hasn't slept much last night. He spent most of this morning kind of getting a hold of his father's house and getting things underway, trying to take control of the situation. So how does Evie opening the proceedings?
Lord Drala, first let me say that certain members of my house have not conducted themselves to the standards which House Veritas expects of their own, and for that I offer my apologies.
He says, considering the service that you and your house has done for me personally, I suppose I can overlook any indiscretions.
Thank you. I am hoping that with this unpleasantness behind us, that our two houses can be friends. We did not come here looking to make enemies.
Well, I cannot speak to that, I'm afraid.
Are you not in charge of your house now?
He explains that some of Randus's vassals, there was a plot in motion this winter that he was going to be supplanted and Drala placed in his seat. Some of the conspirators in this plot now lay dead. Others are still out and about in their lands and holdfasts. Many of these people he was conspiring with were not even invited to this wedding, most likely out of spite. Drala thinks that he has a lot of work to do in order to hold the position that he finds himself in now. But his feeling is that the plans are accelerated and that his grip here might be tenuous, but he expects he'll be able to keep hold of it. He expects things will fall in line the way they were supposed to this winter.
Well, perhaps we can offer our assistance in that matter. Were you to say that House Veritas, the house that drove out the Celtistravi, were to stand with you, I believe there would be many people who would not dare to raise hand against you.
He tells you that the name Celtistravi really only holds a lot of weight among some of the more southerly houses in Randus's lands. The Celtistravi typically stayed on their side of the mists, which is to say your side of the mists.
I believe we can be of help to each other. There are a few things that I would be looking to get from you in exchange. There are a number of things that I believe that I could do to help you.
He squares his shoulders back and sits up in his chair. Remember, he's no more than 13 years old or so. He's really young. He tells you that he doesn't know the exact nature of, and he chooses the next words carefully, you can tell. The nature of dark sorcery that my father controlled, or controlled him. I won't pretend to know the extent of it, but I can tell that, and his eyes drift over towards Ekon at this point, that the god you serve is greater still, and I would hesitate to call myself his enemy.
Error never needs more enemies.
So, Lord Drala, you seem to have had plans in motion for some time, so surely you were aware of the arrangement that your father had with the king of this land.
I've heard him mention Lord Azalin in passing. I've never had chance to meet the king in person, of course.
He's terrifying. Genie speaks up.
Were you aware of what Aslan Rex wanted from your father in exchange for the rulership of this land?
I'll be honest, there was a part of me that always questioned this King Aslan's existence.
Let me assure you that he is real, and there is something that he wanted from your father. It's something that's been... I don't know how long ago they struck that bargain. I assume it's the same bargain that our family struck, and I assume that Aslan Rex was planning to collect. I don't know if
All
he is still
three
planning
of you make an insight check.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Genie, Evie, and Ekon.
26.
Very good.
16.
That's also
13.
pretty good. You ask him if he knows what Aslan might have required of him. He tells you, well, first of all, he tells you that he's questioned whether this Aslan king has ever existed. No, as far as he knows, in his lifetime, nobody's ever seen this man, or visited his lands or anything. He tells you he doesn't know anything about the deal that his father might have struck with Aslan, or what Aslan might have expected of him. But he's lying. And he's nervous that you're going to catch him out in this lie, because he knows that you're much more powerful than his father was.
So they say, Drala, you have to be honest with me or I can't help you.
I would not want to impose upon House Veritas by asking for more assistance than you've already provided.
Well, here's the thing. I want to make sure that this land remains stable. I do not want to see it collapse and affect my borders. Now tell me honestly, do you know what it was that Lord Aslan required of your father?
He looks over at Genie and Ekon, then back to you. My father was supposed to receive a magic ring, his bride gift. And he fishes around inside his own waistcoat. And he pulls out what you recognize as Genie's spell storing ring.
Well, it's just a like a simple gold band that I got from Ekon.
Right, and that's what he
Think.
pulls out of his waistcoat. Because you guys
Uh-huh.
took the actual devil ring and then planted this and gave it to the Squelcher Lord.
And the genie put it on.
So, yeah, so Genie's now wearing the ring that Drala thinks he has and was trying to keep from you guys. But he sets the ring on the table and slides it over to Evie. So, if you're asking for this, I suppose that it's yours by right of conquest.
Genie slaps her hand down on it and says, "Yes, okay, fine."
So, do you know why your father was receiving this?
He shakes his head. It's a family heirloom amongst Damien's family. We were... Part of the plan would have been to take it back from my father this winter and return it to Damien. He was... I suppose there's no need to keep it hidden, but he was planning on taking his own father's seat, if you take my meaning.
I take it.
And he kind of gives a sidewards glance towards Genie as he says this.
What? I'll just like, what? Do you have something to say?
He doesn't.
So I suspect that there will come a time when Aslan Rex will call upon you, the new Lord of House Randis, and he will expect to learn from you some of the secrets of House Randis' own magic.
And as to that, my father never confided in me any of the magics he knew.
Yes, and that is what concerns me, because I do not know what Aslan will do if you do not have any magic to share with him. So, this is my recommendation. But what's that, Genie?
I was supposed to say and I'll kind of scratch my head. Like my interactions with him led me to believe that he doesn't really care. If that makes sense, like he struck me as the kind of guy who's got 1,000 plots in motion and if one of them gets, and they seem to be, some of them seem to be counter to each other, and I'll point at us and then Drala. So I don't know.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that Drala has his bases covered, so Aslan doesn't come to him and say, "You owe me some, new magical knowledge that would be of interest to me," and Drala doesn't have anything, and that could go really badly for him.
Well, why don't we just like not worry about that unless it happens?
Jeannie, I'm trying to negotiate.
Oh. Double finger guns.
Okay, so in our inventory, we have 2 books of magic that came from Aslan's library.
Surely I cannot pay the king with his own coin if he comes and asks.
So what I'm proposing is, it may be necessary for you to become versed in magic, and these magical books would offer you a good primer for being able to build your own magical legacy, which may be something that the king expects of you.
So I don't know if Evie knows this. So this is out of character, just so, because Evie would know this. These are not books on wizardry. These are books explaining druid magic, cleric magic, sorcery, and I don't even think there's warlocks are mentioned in them.
Okay,
Like,
so maybe
like very specifically, when I asked for like magic, like self-taught magic, like Jeannie was like, like, is there anything about the magic of Artificer, like people who learn magic through study? I got stonewalled and brought books on sorcery and cleric, because remember we made that joke about how Osprey was a shit tier god. So just so you know, yeah, because it's been a while.
yeah, I mean, these books might still give him like a good background at like how magic works. Like I'm trying to throw him a bone here. I'm trying to help him out.
I mean,
So to be clear, you think that Aslan's going to come and shake this kid down for magic knowledge?
I think it's possible. I think that was. Didn't we have the contract that said that was the arrangement that he had with Randus? I don't say that, but
we
isn't that
actually
what we found?
is that what the other contract? Because we read the Squelcher Lord's contract.
We read the other
Yeah,
contract. and he
it was
said
pretty
exact-
close.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I do think that eventually Aslan's going to come, "Oh, you're under new management, here are the rules, and you owe me magic." I think that's at least a plausible. Now, it may be that Aslan has not come to the Squelcher Lore with anything in decades, but I don't know what's going to happen.
So are you giving these books to Drala as a gift?
I'm putting this on the table. There's my side of the table and there's his side of the table, so I'm putting these books down as a potential bargaining chip.
So what are you asking for in exchange?
Water.
Well, okay, in the broadest sense, there are 3 things that Evie wants out of this discussion. She wants House Brandis to give up the claim that they have any rights or ownership over New Warren, that land belongs to us. They do not have any rights, express or implied, to the land, the people, the resources, or any kind of taxation. We do not owe vassalage to House Brandis.
Okay.
2, I want the water rights of our people to be restored. And 3, this is just kind of me, putting something on the table. Our people are in for a hard winter. This province seems to have a lot of agriculture. I would like to see if I could get some food for the winter. And in exchange, number of things that I can offer. 1, we already saved his life and Nicola's life.
Okay.
We already overthrew the Squelcher Lord. We already gifted him a magic spear. That was the gift to Randus, but now it goes to him, so he has a magic weapon with which to protect his land. I have these magic books on the table, and I am offering to stand with him and say, House Veritas says that Drala is the rightful lord of this land, and if you take issue with that, you make an enemy of House Veritas, who destroyed the Squelcher Lord and drove off the Celtistrati.
I mean, I guess with all of that, Ekon will pull the spear out of the bag of holding, and along with the fancy case he had for it, and put it on the table.
Oh, you guys didn't actually give that to them yet? I thought you already did.
No.
We interrupted the wedding with fireballs.
Oh, well, I thought they collected the gifts already.
No, that's why Victor had to go out through the hall and take them off of the dead bodies of the court. They
Okay,
had
well,
not been presented yet.
Oh, well, I'll still. I mean, that was Edmont's spear, right? He doesn't need it anymore. He was willing to give that up. I don't want to give something away if we did want to actually give it away, but I thought you guys had already given it.
No, I thought the plan last week was we were going to give it as Brigers, but then take him back after we kill the Scorcher Lord.
Oh no, I mean, I would be willing to actually give him a real magic weapon, if you guys are okay with it.
I don't.
I have no qualms one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I won't. I will casually, not like I'm not going to throw the money that we had in there on top of it, but I'll take the spear with its pretty ribbon out.
Or the potion.
Yeah.
You're all as bad as Victor.
He says that in addition, because you're asking quite a lot of him.
Mm-hmm.
He says that the other bride gifts that your brother has taken, I mean, in the strictest sense, these gifts had not been given yet. The ceremony had not advanced that far.
Mm-hmm.
But on the topic of Aslan coming and asking for magical secrets and things, he would ask that ring be returned. He had an idea of what gifts were being given at the wedding, and so did his father. And this ring was apparently part of the agreement between Darian's parents and the Squelcher Lord. Like, this ring changing hands was a big deal. He doesn't know what his father was going to do with it exactly, but he knows that it contains some sort of powerful magic.
That ring, and Jeannie's going to speak up, has a... It doesn't contain magic. It has... a thing inside of it.
And then he straightens back up, trying to make himself look bigger and taller than he is in his father's chair, which is comical. Be that as it may, it was given to my father. He died with it on his person. It's mine by rights. If it contains whatever it contains, it belongs to my house now, surely.
Jeannie's going to let us sigh, and she's going to turn and look at... she's going to hold up one finger. She's going to look at Evie and be like, Evie, this ring that he handed us... And I'm saying this for Niskin.
Okay.
And I just like a real tired voice. This ring that he gave us back is just one of Ekon's rings. It doesn't have anything on it. Anything in it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say for Niskin, so where is the real one?
I have it.
All right, so I wonder what circumstances would it be okay to give it back to him?
That's what I'm like we're at the point
Ekon
where
will cut in Fernisk and he say, there was no actual wedding. I don't know that this actually is his... we stopped the wedding. I don't know that all these wedding gifts actually do belong to his house.
One of you was there when Elic gave the Squelcher Lord this ring before the wedding. Like, it was in the Squelcher Lord's...
No.
Yeah, but Genie gave it to Ultra Lord.
So you gotta remember, like, what's his name? Darian gave it to me, and then I switched out the...
Right, but I mean, Ekon's whole point here is that these were all wedding gifts. We interrupted the wedding.
All right, and I'll just, do you mind if and I'll ask him, do you mind if I just give him this ring back? It's yours.
Are you giving him the real ring or the fake ring?
I mean, I don't, like, Genie asked because, it's like, whatever.
Okay, so while we're having this conversation for Niskin in front of him, Ekon is just gonna stop for a moment, bow his head, and cast a spell, pulling some incense out of his pack. I'm gonna cast Divination on the event of Genie invoking the power within the ring.
Bear with me one moment. That's the Wheel or Woe spell, isn't it?
No, this is
That's
this
like
is my this is my only 4th level slot today.
Oh, okay. Wow,
Does it
we're up to
connect?
4th level spell slots?
I feel like any question you ask will get a whoa response in Ravenloft.
Yeah,
That's
that's why.
augury.
I mean, I have augury prepared, but
Yeah, it's augury. Ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. So what is the question you ask?
Genie invoking the power of the ring. What would dear Air? What would happen if Genie were to take this ring and use all of her magical expertise to unleash or otherwise invoke the power in it?
XO,
Sincerely, Ekon.
It's like XO, Ekon.
So the first thing, I mean, you're casting the spell in this room in front of.
Yeah, it's a
Drella?
one-action spell.
Okay. Only that consumes
I was
25
surprised
gold.
too. I
worth
figured this would be
of-
like a 10-minute, but yeah, it's a one-action.
So what is the spell consuming? Like, what are you offering?
I'm using the incense I would normally use for Find Familiar, 25 gold of it.
Okay. It doesn't say that the response is like announced to all assembled or anything.
Yeah, that's up to you, I think.
You receive an answer to your question. You are very, very aware it is not air that answers you.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what becomes of Genie if she invokes the power of this ring? Yes?
What happens? Yeah, what not specifically of Genie, just what would happen if Genie were to use the power of the ring?
The answer is her wildest dreams shall be fulfilled.
And I'll just look at Genie, and I'll kind of like dust the incense ash that he had just crossed off his hands. Something I'm guessing inside the ring decided that they were more important to answering my question than air. This is all in Ferniskin. And I'm pretty sure if you were to ask it a question, if you were to try and activate that ring, it would just... It claims that it wants to give you anything you want. I don't know if that's trickery on the part, but I'm guessing it's whatever's in the ring did
You're
that.
certain it's not trickery because the spell specifically says you were given a truthful reply.
Okay.
But the response, you prayed to air, and it is not air that responded.
Yeah, and I'll tell Genie and Evie that in Ferniskin. I'll basically summarize that.
Okay, so basically my understanding of the events is the Squelcher Lord was acquiring this ring and it was going to give it to Azalin.
Are you pontificating or are you asking Drella?
I mean, from what he said, it sounded to me like that was what it was going to... I guess I'll just say, was the plan for you to give this ring to the king?
He says he doesn't know his father's plan for the ring. He just knows that he would not have agreed to this wedding without it. This was a price that Darian's family had to pay to be allowed to marry the Squelcher Lord's ward.
Did we give it back to him or not?
I mean, he's asking for this ring, and I'll say it for Miskin, and I'm pointing at this, like the gold ring on the table. He
So
wants this
You're
ring.
pointing at the fake ring.
Right.
Okay.
That's what he's asking for.
Yeah,
So-
but if we don't give him back the real one, then we're cheating him.
That's how the game is played. Like at the negotiating table, ask for what you want. Be upfront. He wants this
No,
ring.
I agree with Evie this time. If we're going to take the ring, we should be explicit about it. We shouldn't just trick him.
Whatever.
I'm not saying we shouldn't take the ring. I think that's entirely up to you, Evie. You're doing the negotiating here, but I wouldn't just hope that he doesn't have someone at someday magically try and identify it.
Like, is there some other magical device we could give you instead? I say, I don't know what this ring does, so I don't know if it's wise to entrust it to someone else. Especially if it's something that your father, who dabbled in very dark magic, was very interested in having.
He says, forgive me for presuming, but whether the ring is dangerous or not, it is my father's property, and my father is dead. I am the sole inheritor of his estate. This is now my house, my chair. Those outside are my servants, my guardsmen, my village. I will not stop you. He corrects himself. I could not stop the men and women of House Veritas if it is their inclination to plunder my father's treasures. But I need not be happy that it's being done. You are asking me to knock down my father's dam and to provide you with cartfuls of food, to feed your own people through a harsh winter coming up. I find myself disinclined to do so.
I'm gonna look at Evie and be like, we can feed ourselves through the winter. I'm fairly certain. It'll be tight, but I think I'm pretty sure that between what Ekon and I can produce, plus the yields, I think we can do it.
Basically, where Drala is going to leave it at the end of this negotiation is you and he will not part ways as enemies, but if you're going to leave with his father's treasure, meaning the ring, he doesn't really care much about the other stuff that Victor took, and is apparently building a giant pyre of out on the pillory. If you're going to take this ring, he's not going to give you what you ask for. This ring is extremely valuable to him. So he doesn't see the need. He doesn't see the need to give you this ring and cartfuls of food and knock down this dam. You're asking too much.
For Niskin, should we tell this boy that we can knock down the dam?
So that's just to kind of bring this to a conclusion. You kind of have three broad options. You can have the ring, you can have the food and the dam, or you can just tell him, we're stronger than you are, we're going to take everything we want and get all of it.
I mean, I don't want to do that last one, but this ring seems really dangerous.
I'm just... This...
Okay, so I'll say, if I give you back the ring, what do you plan to do with it? It's claiming that it is yours to do with as you wish, that it is your property.
He tells you that he will hold it in care as his father would, that he will bend resources to determine what it is, what his father wanted of it. He can't help but looking at Genie, but his understanding that that Elic is still alive and that he would have knowledge about the ring. In fact, he confides he's already sent riders out from the village to find Elic.
All right, so
gonna
I'll
have
I
say
would have
this.
shared with him that Elic was headed back to his own home when I talked to him this morning.
Well, he won't arrive there. He's going to be found by Drala's men and brought back to this village.
Yeah,
to
but I
answer
mean, like,
questions about this ring.
he knows that to send his men, to know where to send his men out.
Okay.
This, like, and I'll talk to Evie. Evie, this is a dangerous ring. There is a thing sealed inside of it. How about I offer to give him information between Ekon and myself. We could probably tell him everything he needs to know about this ring. But this ring also could be our way home.
I kind of doubt that.
It's worth trying. This place sucks.
Yeah, I mean, what he said is it's the ring or nothing. He's not going to take something else.
Right.
Well, his point of view is that you're not really in a position to give him this ring. It's already his. He owns it. If you take it, it's because you're taking it from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be taking it in. So
He
I
literally
kind of want to
handed
get
it
a
over to
decision
us.
made here. You can have the ring, you can have the food and the dam, or you can just tell him straight up, we're strong arming you, we're taking everything we want, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's kind of your three options here.
I know I'm not there, but my vote is to just give him the ring.
Yeah, that's where kind of like
My,
Gene-
We're about to bring it down to a vote now. If we're just going to keep waffling, I say we bring it down to a vote.
Well, here's the proposal I'm putting forward to the people in the room. We give him the ring. We extract a pledge that the ring will not be used against us.
He will offer you no such pledge. He doesn't even know what the ring is or what it can do.
Yeah. So this guy's all about, if I'm stronger than you, I can do whatever I want to you. If that ring makes him stronger than us, then feels like he could take whatever he wants from us.
Victor's not there, but he thinks we'll have Jeannie give back the ring she made.
Give him the fake ring. Now, that's an option too.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that you switched the rings. But
And Ekon's
that's not
adamantly
going
against
to-
that one.
you can
That's
have
not
you
gonna
can, if
last.
you can have the ring, or you can have the food and the dam, and you can leave on amicable terms. If you
think we
tell
give
him
him the
we're
ring.
just strong arming you, we're gonna knock the dam down on our way out, and there's nothing you can do about it anyway. Then
Okay, so what did you say, Jeannie?
I think we give him the ring, and I'm going to be like, and I'm going to look at you, and Infernus can say, I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to make this decision for you. You can yell at me later, okay?
You're gonna give him the real ring?
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, and I'll pass, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up this ring and say, I want you, and I'm going to say in Darkanese, like, I want you to know that this ring, and I'm holding up the gold ring, there's nothing special about it. Not a single thing. It's just a normal gold band. Okay?
he looks confused. He doesn't.
He
'Cause
goes,
he thought the power of this ring was the whole crux of this discussion.
this is a simple gold band. And then I'll take the other ring off. I'll pull the ring off my pinky. Oh, I kind of expected you to say it wouldn't come off, because that would have been
That's what I was waiting for.
that would have been
No,
terrifying.
It comes off.
I was about to
pull
say
it.
that would have been fucking amazing.
We were all expecting that one.
I now hold it up. It's like, this is the ring that was promised to your father. And I'll put it on the ground and slide it across to him. He goes, however, I need you to understand that we have, we've already, like, and I'll point at me and Ekon, we've already looked at it because it is very magical. And we were curious. There is a consciousness sealed in that, and it doesn't seem friendly. So I would advise against.
So you were
Advise
plotting
against-
to steal this ring from my father and had switched it for the gold band.
Right. And it seemed like your father was going to do bad things with it. You seem a little more responsible than your father. Please do not abuse the trust, because I will point out that you did not know this was not what you think. We are giving this back in good faith. And if you doubt my words, you can actually have both rings. I don't care. The gold ring is Ekon's, and I don't care if he gets it back or not.
He'll accept both rings. That seems like a very reasonable thing to offer, considering you've lied about which was the real ring up to this point.
We didn't lie to him. He assumed. We have never had the discussion with him about what the real ring
He
is.
took that gold ring off his father's dead body.
We didn't lie to him. We lied to his dead father.
So the decision
Who is
is
not
to give him the ring back, and in exchange he'll agree to take down have the dam removed, and to deliver 2 cartloads of food.
And that we are not his vassals, and that he does not have any rights to our territory.
Sure, yeah, he'll sign off on all that.
But Drawla, you seem like a smart kid. I am telling you this. That ring is probably bad news.
It's a very dangerous item. I'm not as adept in magic as Ekon and Jeannie are, but even me just looking at that, I can tell it's bad news. Nothing good ever happens from magic rings that have evil consciousness trapped inside of them.
Well, and I'll look at you. Well, there was that one story. Remember
Yeah, it was about the two halflings who went to the land of darkness.
Right.
That was a really bad ring. It was like the worst ring of all.
Victor,
Yeah.
you find the camp. The three men outside of town. Dox, Clarence, and Selshin. At this point, they've heard word of what's gone down in the city. Clarence and Selshin are beside themselves, almost giddy to hear they've already heard the news. And one of the first things they ask you to confirm, like, is it true? The Squelcher Lord's dead.
I killed him myself, yes.
You killed him yourself.
The others were dealing with his little friend.
Eyes.
They press you for details about what went down, because they've heard the story a couple of different ways, but they want to know like what really happened. They're very excited to hear these details. What do you tell them?
So Victor will tell him that they made an appearance at the Scorcher Lord's wedding. The Scorcher Lord threatened the Veritas family and insulted us. So Victor approached and plunged a dagger into the Scorcher Lord's back, while his servant was actually a devil in disguise, and the rest of the Veritas family valiantly fought the devil and defended the civilians, but they were unfortunately not able to save everybody. As the Scorcher Lord
You
let
get
out
the whole
a...
story just as it went down.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's not how it went down exactly.
I feel like that's a very embellished version of what went down.
Can't help but notice he didn't say, "Oh, Edmont beat the shit out of the guy too."
Well, he said House Veritas fought very valiantly. Like,
Yeah, but
I
he
heard
didn't
him
say
that.
Edmund brutally beat
I feel like
Credit where it's due,
Edmont.
please.
I feel like Edmont did more of the work on the actual Squelcher Lord than Victor did. I'm just
Not
saying.
damage-wise, I don't think.
Edmund stunned him. That was
Effect-wise.
huge. It basically meant he lost its turn to cast a spell, and his spells were bad.
I'll
Oh,
be
yeah,
honest,
no,
the
that
Squelcher
stuff
Lord
was
didn't
great.
even have hit points. Like,
Oh,
I wasn't tracking his hit points. I already knew how he was going to die and what was going to happen.
Brick road. Brick road. Why you gotta take that from me?
It's
You gotta
Ravenloft.
pull-
I got to make sure that everybody leaves feeling horrible about themselves.
Yeah, Victor does attempt to hide Edmund's involvement so that he is a pure, lovable artist guy.
So, but is Victor taking any joy in like giving these details, or is he still kind of moping about it?
He's pretty mopey. He smiles a little bit when he talks about how he killed Lord Randus, but he's very sad when he talks about how Randus set off a spell that killed all the other nobles in the house and many of the men outside, and nearly killed his own son.
At the end of the story, as Selshin and Clarence are kind of pressing for more details, and they want to know more about this and that, and Dox chimes in. So, the Squelcher Lord is dead. Doesn't bring back your house or my family. Doesn't right any of the wrongs that were done. All that's happened is that more bodies have been stacked up. More funerals. More coffins.
Indeed. The only silver lining is now the three of you have a chance and you have an option. You can stay here and try to rebuild in the wake of what's left, or you can come live with us.
Selshin asks if you're still going to blow the dam.
Hopefully we won't need to. I'm not sure what my cousins are doing, but I think they went to talk to Randus' son to get rid of the dam.
Make an insight check. Make this at advantage, because Victor is clearly struggling with some of the same stuff that Dox was.
I'm assuming they just want to blow something up. That would be an 18 plus sub modifier.
Okay. Selshin says he wants to accompany you, at least as far as the dam, if the plan is still to blow the dam up. Clarence and Dox are going to remain behind. You get the sense Clarence is a young man. He's lived through tragedy, but he's a young man. There's nothing stopping him from forging his own path forward from here. Dox is an older man. His family is dead. You definitely get the impression that he's already given up on everything. He also declines the offer to come with you. In fact, he no longer seems that interested in the destruction of the dam, even. This is a man who, the death of the Squelcher Lord, like, he was expecting to get some closure out of it, but it seems like he's not. So Clarence and Dox are not coming with you. Clarence you think will be okay. Dox probably not.
Right. Victor will try and console Dox, but tell him, he understands that Dox needs to do what he needs to do.
Dox,
And he'll agree to take the other
before you
one.
part ways with Dox, bear with me one moment, please. Before you part ways with Dox, he tells you he thinks you're a different man. This is as you guys are walking back to the village at this point, and he pulls you aside so the other two don't overhear. I think you're a different man than when we last spoke. You've looked upon the Wojno as I have. It's a Vistani word. It means a glare so dark that you cannot look away from it. And once you've seen it, it watches you always. You've seen it now too, have you not?
Victor will nod and say, I imagine I have.
The Vistani believe it watches over everyone. There's some debate about whether it's a boon or a curse to become aware of it.
Indeed.
So you enter back into the village with Stilshin and Clarence, and Dox takes his leave of the party and departs from the village.
So Victor's final words to Dox are, enough people have died. Don't add one more.
Edmont,
Sure.
do you make yourself known to the Oliver family as you're doing a sketch?
Yeah.
Okay. The son, Uniper, interrupts you partway through your sketch. I'm assuming you have an easel out.
Yeah.
He's holding a small cask, a tobacco cask. He says that Lord Randis commissioned this particular leaf. As you know, as you've purchased some from him, he was
Right.
not given leave to sell this to anyone, but my father doesn't know I'm doing this. But I don't think that this should land. I assume Drala is going to take over as Lord.
That seems to be the prevailing theory.
I would deny him this treasure then, and he hands it to you. And it's the rest of the tobacco. Lord Randis' special leaf.
Set it in my pack.
The Squelcher Lord was a villain through and through. My father would say that he only took what was his, and he looks out over the village, and you see him looking over back towards the cemetery, which is kind of offset on this map, out back, probably off to the south here, behind the manor.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, I think he took too much.
I am a stranger in these lands, but I tend to agree.
Who's that in the drawing? And he points to the sketch that you've made.
Artistic liberty. What is the man doing?
He's just standing with his back to you, wearing his hat, holding his scythe, looking out over the Oliver's farm. Was that meant to be my father?
No.
So he has given you a cask of that tobacco. One of you had identified that, had you not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pass without trace if you smoke it, right?
No.
No. Non-detection.
Non-detection.
Non-detection. Gotcha.
This is one of the reasons none of you were able to detect any magic on Lord Randus. Because he smokes a magic leaf that makes him immune to divination spells and the like. All right. So let's go ahead and take a break here. If you want to go ahead and get your coffee, get your bagel. We'll reconvene at 4:30, and you guys can decide what to do with the dam.